All right. So, so just a few minutes on a PowerPoint, and then we'll get right into the tool. The over this X amount of time that we've been using Intellectus Qualitative and LLMs, large language models, to accompany that thematizing process, we've really come across the idea that there's different ways of entering data. So this is just a brief mention that you don't necessarily, and where typically I'm thinking about thematizing interviews. So, and the traditional way of doing that, and even doing it by hand, is really doing it person by person, okay? Interviewee by interviewee, and uploading that, and letting the LLMs or the AI, letting that really look at the entire interview. And that's really this first bucket here of uploading data by interviews. And if you do that, that's just fine. And I want to highlight that you can also put it in by interviewer question. So that is to say, I have 10 participants, I have 3 broad questions. So I only enter in participant 1's question, interviewer question 1. Participant 2, interviewer question 1, and so forth. So by putting it by interviewer question or by your study aim or research question, that's also fine. So I could probably use, as I'm speaking about this, I'm saying, Jim, we really need a visual here. So I apologize for not having that ready, but just know that the way you put in data would be useful if you want interconnections of the entire interview, or if you put it in by interviewer question, the AI is only going to have access to responses related to that interview question. It's not going to be grabbing from other places. So just to know that. Okay. Okay, login. I guess we'll move right to login. So presumably this is our login, and I will wait to hear how that's going. All right. So if you have trouble, please put it into the Q&A or raise your hand, and we'll help you get logged in. And again, this is all being recorded, so if you don't have data ready at hand, you will at least have the steps to get you there. All right. So while you're logging in, that should be a pretty quick process. Okay. I want to kind of talk about one best practice protocol that so what I like to do is go through the protocol, show you how we do things with our mock data. You can be following along, and I'm happy to take someone else's data and play with that and work with that as well. So hopefully we have enough time for that. So this is one protocol. It's not the protocol. So the first step is really uploading the data. So you're uploading in the fashion that you'd like, or the tool can actually transcribe audio or video files. So that's right in the tool, or you can just paste in your data. Once you have your data in, there's a step of uploading your research questions and purpose, and I'll demonstrate that. Then we have, obviously reading, rereading. I'm sure everyone is quite aware of this, but I'll say it anyway. The AI is not the end all. The AI is a portion of it, and it's helping you to be efficient and rigorous in your thematizing process. Having said that, you don't know if the codes and the themes are reasonable. unless you have a great grasp of what you're looking at. So it does not obviate the need to read and reread and really have a sense of your data. Okay. So once we have our data uploaded, we have our research questions uploaded, now we can really start using AI to accompany your process. And we have a generate code using inductive autocoding. What that means is that without any knowledge at all, it's almost a little mysterious, isn't it? Without any knowledge at all, the tool will derive important excerpts or excerpt important passages, okay? Then it will create a code name for a set of passages and a code description. So all of that is happening, all right? Now, after we have excerpts, codes, and descriptions, we need to go into the refinement process. So that's where that knowledge of the reading and rereading is going to happen. You need to go through and say, these code names make sense. These code descriptions make sense. These excerpts with this make sense. Okay. Then we move on to the generating themes. We have an auto-thematizing process. What's going on there? Well, there's a few things that have to happen. One of the things that have to happen is for a set of codes, how many themes is the optimal number of themes? Okay, so we use a little bit of statistical analysis to get there, and a little bit of AI to get there, to derive the number of themes, optimal number of themes. You can edit it, but just to know, we're going to have a number of themes. Then we need to say which codes go together, okay, for a particular theme. Name that theme and then describe that theme. So there's a few steps involved in that auto-thematizing process. Then we have this refinement step, which is just like the coding. You got to look at the theme, you got to look at the description, you got to look at the codes. Is this all coherent? Does this all make sense? All right. All right. Then we have a code, excuse me, research question theme alignment. What the research question theme alignment is aligning your research questions or study aims with the themes. This came out of folks like you watching me do these things and saying, Jim, great with the codes, great with the auto-thematizing, but guess what? I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing this to examine particular research questions. And I want to know how those themes that were derived, both manually and with AI, align with those research questions. So we've added an aspect of that where there is this alignment, okay? Which themes go with that research question. And then we provide a rationale or suggest a rationale for why those things go together. Okay. Then you're going to have a refine the alignment rationale process where you're going to go through and say, parts of the rationale work, some of it doesn't. I'm not sure that theme goes with that research question. Again, the human analyst is not taken out of this equation, critical to every step of the equation, as you can see here. And then we're going to download into an editable Word document. All righty. And I think we are ready to get into it. Okay, so let me just see if I can scoot this over here, scoot this up here. All righty, so first things first, I want to create a project, okay? And let's see here. So I will create a project and we'll have, qual. Oops, excuse me. You can dress me up, you can educate me, but you can't make me type. So evidently, not the best typist. Okay, so qualitative workshop. And again, if you're not being able to log in, contact or raise your hand with Ashley or Melissa so we can follow along here. So the first thing I'm doing is creating a project. Okay, and now I'm going to add research questions. Okay, and the research, you can add the purpose statement as well. But the research question, this is around digestive disorders, and one question is, describe. Okay, describe, symptoms of digestive disorders. This, okay, and then the next one is, what are the coping mechanisms? To deal with digestive this. Okay. So I want to find about the symptoms or the experiences of, that's even better. I know it's painful to watch me type. Okay, so describe experiences of individuals with digestive disorders and then coping mechanisms to deal with digestive disorders. Okay. Create a project, add in research questions. All right. So now I want to add my data into it. So I can go to upload data files. Okay, and I can go to my data files here. And I'm adding Brett and Sarah. And it just takes a second to upload that data. And they're all ready to go. And here you can see Sarah and Brett talking about digestive disorders. And each of these, by the way, are about 15 pages each. The beauty of what we have here is that when we're going through this, it doesn't matter if you have 30 pages or 630 pages. It's basically all the same time, okay? Which is a few minutes per round, right? And for people that have been dealing with their thematic analysis for 3 weeks, you should be joyful at this moment. All right, so this is going to help. All right, so I think I just want to pause for a moment and see if anyone had problems uploading their data. Raise your hand or put it into the Q&A. And when Melissa gives me the go-ahead, I'm going to continue on. So I want people to be following along and getting their work done.
Yep, I think we're okay. No one's saying that they've had an issue. There's a few questions, but we can get to those in
Okay, got
a bit. And then there's one request for you to make your screen full size if you can.
Well, I can, but here's my problem. So, okay, so here, so I can do that. All right. So what happens is I've been messing around with my camera. So I'll just put it over here so I won't be able to see anything. So, but I'll try to look ahead. All right. Is that better? Hopefully so. All right.
Yeah.
So, okie dokie. So what's the next piece? So the next piece is to get into the auto coding. So I'm going to be doing inductive coding, which is there is no pre-existing codes. However, if you have pre-existing codes, you can upload those, okay, codes and descriptions, and then the tool will go out and seek out excerpts for that. But at the moment, let's just deal with inductive coding. We're starting with a blank slate after the reading and rereading. Okay, so the inductive coding is going, and again, seeking to find what are the important passages and excerpting those, A, and then B, putting together some of those excerpts that together, kind of create a code or comprise a code. And then it's going to have a code description. So that's the kind of process that we're kind of into here. All right. So after this process, going through these 30 pages, the tool has found 7 unique codes and 68 excerpts. It's a little nuance in that language there. When I say unique codes, behind the scenes, codes that are very similar, we're collapsing. Okay, so there's a few other things going on behind the scenes. So we have 7 codes and 68 excerpts. And when I apply that to the project, I can see for Brett, for example, here's a excerpted piece. Now, that refinement process is going into each of these codes, okay, clicking into details. And now, by the way, you see the AI in the beginning to distinguish from manual, which I'll show you in a moment. So the AI has identified one code named Challenges with Diagnosis and Treatment of Bowel Disorders, description or description suggestion, and then the excerpts. Okay. All right. So you want to go through and make sure they all make sense. Now, I can also do a purely manual code by clicking on Add Code. Okay. Put in a code name, code example, okay, a description. I could add that code, which is over here. Then I can tie a passage to that by just highlighting that and just clicking plus, and it adds that piece of text to that code. So we have thus far a purely AI mode of coding, a purely manual way of coding, and then we have a hybrid, which is, I think that this is an important passage here, okay? But to help get a leg up on the name and description of that, I can go to Code and AI Assisted, and it's going to create or suggest a code name and code description for that passage. So that's another way of doing it. Okay. And I think I want to just dump that. Okay. So we've coded in 3 ways: manual, hybrid, and AI. Let's go to the thematizing process. For the thematizing process, we're back into the AI tools. We're at the automatic thematizing. And as I stated, and I guess since this is the first time you're hearing it, it's not so bad to repeat it, that we are first discerning how many themes there should be. That's an important thing. So we've identified 4 different themes. You can update this with making it larger or smaller number of themes. Currently, the tool has identified 4 themes, okay? And I can apply to the project. And you can see that the theme has got that icon versus the code icon. So that theme has got these 3 codes in it, which comprise 10 excerpts. So the next task is for each of the themes to go into those details, okay, and see if that suggested theme name and that suggested theme description, okay, and those codes all go together for you, okay? By the way, you may want to say, I need a little bit more context here. You can jump to that, okay? And you can see these little handles here, okay, can really expand it. So you can work within these things too, to expand and contract different aspects of the excerpts. Okay, so we've just auto-thematized. We can also thematize manually by clicking Add Theme. Same thing, add a theme name. Okay, theme description. All right. So, and then you're able to drag, by grabbing this handle here, you can drag them up into that. Okay, so drag it up. All right, so now that code is with that theme. I'm going to drag it back down because that's where it belongs. So Okay. We also have a thematizing mode, which is hybrid as well, which is with an AI assisted, generate, what am I doing here? I am manual. Okay, AI said, okay, so this is, I select a number of codes, and what the AI will do is to generate a theme name and theme description. Okay. All right. So the suggested theme name and theme description for those codes. So to recap, we have 3 modes of thematizing: the auto thematizing, the manual thematizing by entering in your own theme name and description, which I suspect will happen, and then the AI assist, which is, I think that these codes make sense to go together, and then gets AI support to name and describe that theme. Okay, let's just take a breath for a moment to make sure that this is working for everyone. And does anybody perhaps have questions about the process thus far? We're almost home and then we can deal with individuals, but I'm just curious if anyone had to take a breath, if anyone needs a moment here. All right, so carrying on. All right, so I should state that there's a memo log happening. Okay, when we create different codes, there's an excerpt log happening. We're going to use this for CAPAs down the road, hopefully not too far down the road, but you have a list of the excerpts, and then we get to insights. Insights is really we're trying to build that results document. So I did mention this research question rationale. It's really research question theme rationale. So here are my 2 research questions, and I can use the AI to suggest which themes go with a particular research question. So I'm going to continue. So you could have done this manually as well. So what the AI has found is that those themes go with that research questions with regards to folks' experiences. Hit submit. And what results is, here is the research question. Okay. And then here is one of the themes, navigating health concerns, and the reason or the rationale for putting together that research question and that theme. And here is the rationale for that. Okay. Also in that functionality is identifying the number of codes and excerpts associated with that theme. All righty. And then here is a next theme that goes with that research question, that rationale, and the number of those themes and excerpts that go together with that. I didn't say that right. So here is the theme that goes with the research question, the rationale. And this is the table of the codes entailed in that theme and the number of excerpts involved. Okay, so you can also do a deep dive into the themes by clicking on Add Document. Here we have different themes, and I can select some representative excerpts. So here we have the theme, okay, the theme description, okay, the codes and excerpts involved with that. Wait a second, I'm on the wrong one. Sorry, my bad. So here is the theme. Here is the theme description, the codes associated with it, or code in this case, and then those supporting excerpts. And then all of this, gets downloaded into an editable Word document. This looks like this. Okay, we don't need this. All right. All right, so here's an example of that research question, theme, rationale. Okay. And then I also did the one theme drill down with description and codes. Okay. So I think I want to give two quick highlights. Well, let's just stop there for a second. So let's go ahead and go to some questions. We have some. Do we have I'm in the chat, but should I be in the Q&A?
We have a question about if you could go back over where the information for the rationale comes from.
Okay. Okay, so it's under the Insights tab. And it's under this research question rationale. All right. And what's happening here is, so I'm selecting one of my research questions, and I can either select the themes that I believe go with that research question, or I can use AI to dive into that research question and those themes to say which ones go together. Okay. All right. And then so then it will provide a rationale for why these themes and this research question go together. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Does that answer the question?
Let's see. I believe so.
Okay.
The next question was, does it come from the data in the document itself or from an outside sources? It's only going to reference what's you give it to reference. So it's not going to pull from outside sources.
Right. It's using your language in your research question, and whatever the themes are, be it manual, hybrid, or AI, those theme names and descriptions, and that's what it's using to tie together. And then, of course, this is all of these things as this these are all suggestions, right? So there's all this refining process going on here. Right? So these are just suggestions for you to consider. Because back in the old days, and I'm sure there's a few people on this call that from the old days, which is you had no choice. You had to use what you had no suggestions whatsoever. You just had to use your brain to put it together. Now you can use your brain and have some suggestions, so to consider. Okay, other questions?
We have a couple asking if this is being recorded and will they receive it. So yes, everyone will receive the recording. Someone wants to know how they can go back and add research questions. So if you could
Wonderful question. So I'm going to go back to project, and this is the qual workshop, and I'm so back to the main, okay, and then just go to here and go to update. And thank you for bringing me back here too. There's a few things. So at that update, then I can now add research questions or purpose statement. All right, so let's just talk about a few other things here. I can also share this with a colleague. So what that means is I could put in email address or addresses to have other folks be able to work on it. At the moment, we could just work on it as in a serial fashion, but that's something. One thing. I can also, you can see the project type is owned by moi, but I can make someone else the project owner, okay, by transferring it. That's important, especially for someone like me who inadvertently deletes these darn projects. So I prefer that everyone owns their own projects. All right. A few other things that are coming down the pike just to put it out there that we are going to have different types of visualizations. They are, if you come back next week, they'll be pushed. So look forward to those. Working on a Kappa feature where you can get other raters to help assess the inter-rater reliability. That's probably a month out. Stay tuned. Okay. What else? Other questions? I'll put people's name in. I was wondering if the interview is conducted in different languages. Can we use Intellectus for data analysis? So yeah, so surprisingly, you can have different languages uploaded here. I believe it. So I think that answer is yes. Melissa, would you confirm that with Marlon though? I believe that it is language independent.
Yep, you can upload different languages, and if you use the transcription, it can be transcribed in different languages.
Okay, but when we're doing the auto coding and auto thematizing in some dialect, is the themes and codes in that dialect? That's my
I believe so, but I don't speak any other language, so we're gonna need someone to test that out.
Okay. All right. So would you ask Marlon if in fact, if I have a document in Spanish, I should probably just find one real quick. If in fact the coding and thematizing is happening in English or in Spanish rather. My sense is that it happens in English, but I'm not sure. Okay. When the AI generates the code, does it take into account the research questions you entered? No. So and I'm sure there's lots of ways of doing this. In our particular tool, when we do the auto coding, it is not taking into account research questions. And we tried. So we tried to put in lots of parts of research, proposal and methods and theoretical frameworks. And, what we found is just put in your transcripts, let it make its suggestions, and then edit from there. Yeah, so okay, Michelle, we're gonna find out.
Michelle,
Melissa,
I believe Michelle is using the tool and is saying that if they go through for Spanish, they come back in English.
okay. Well,
So
okay,
there's the answer there.
there you go. All right, thank you for that. Can I upload the transcript in Excel? No. Well, is that no. So
No.
when we go to upload, when you go to create project. Okay. So when you upload the text file, so you have to put it in a currently it's doc files. I was going to tease you older people and say word perfect, but Word files and PDFs. So yeah, you'd have to paste that into a Word doc. Okay. What else? Other questions? So I have a question for you all. You've seen, let's get back to the project. A lot of the goodness that has been derived here was from your questions and so I ask you all, and there's a lot of people on here, what do you want to see? What would make things easier for you? Jim, you've just spent 36 minutes talking about this, but I need A, I need G. So I'd like to hear, to take a moment to reflect on what was going to make your life easier, but really solve your problem. Because that research question, theme, rationale was only came out of you all. So what would you like to see? Somebody wants to check in, okay. So what other things would you like to see? And we'll, to the Napoleon individual, I suggest putting it in yourself, since you probably speak that language. Access codes to deal with. Time for trials. What is the time for trials on this, Melissa?
So the link that everyone received will be open through tomorrow, but please reach out to Ashley. Her info is in the chat if you'd like an extended trial. If you're faculty.
Got it. Since you mentioned that, so for faculty, I should say that's a good segue. So just to know that we also have courseware that goes with this, goes behind your LMS. It's competency based. There's 20 different lessons or 21 lessons that cover different aspects of qualitative research. So just know that that's there as well. This is a qualitative workshop, but I guess I should ask the question, does anybody care about quantitative at all? And if you do, raise your hand. If you don't, that's no problem. I know we get bucketed into different things. Last spring, the Insights tab had errors, Cranbach Alpha test. So I appreciate that question, Kurt. So, and your sustained interest. So we did remove we were not happy with the kappa. We got it to be consistent, but we were not happy with it. So what we've done is, or what we're doing is, being able to just make it easy for human beings to do that inter-rater reliability by presenting your raters with the themes and with the excerpts and let them do the matching task. We'll do the math behind it and be able to present it to you. But I appreciate that question. I am both student and faculty, let's position, registered student. Okay, so that's fine. All right, so just know that there's a courseware to go with it.
And we do have a couple of people that want to see quantitative.
So just the 2-minute version of the quant, 2 minutes. And you could be thinking about what you want in the qual and other things, but just know that you can, in the quant, you can upload data from different file formats. You can manage data. I have to select the project first. You can manage your data very simply. You can plot your data in different ways. Profile plot. Oops, did I not do that? You have to hit submit, not close. So you can plot data in different ways, and typical scatter plots, bar plots, box plots. And then but here's the key part. So here's the win. Tons of tests from descriptive statistics to structural equation modeling and mediation and moderation and everything in between. But check this out. When you conduct descriptives, for example here, everything's going to come out in APA style and with an interpretation. This is an APA table of the nominal and or ordinal variables and a description of what's in there. For the scale variables, APA tables, helpful scrollovers, and a description. And if I do something like a t-test, time 1 to time 2, for every one of these tests, the assumptions are built in. It's interpreted in plain English prose with APA formats. So the assumptions of normality is built in. It identifies the test, it runs the test, and interprets the test in English. This is the game changer for those doing research because you're going to have a draft of your results in 41 seconds. Then you can put things in your own voice, you put it into chat. The results of the t-test was significant. For those in class, learning to write. For those doing research, students or faculty, put it in your own voice. Any interpretation. And the APA table. And the appropriate plot with scroll over. Okay. And when assumptions are violated, non-parametric tests, the Wilcoxon in this case, everything is the same ease as I just showed you, no matter what test you're doing. And everything downloads into an editable Word document. On the other side, part of my head turning. Okay. How do I get this out of there? That's not what I want. Okay, here we go. I need like a massive screen, I think. Okay. So this is the output of that. So I just ran descriptives, t-test. And then we also included APA style references for all the in-text citations and a glossary of terms and symbols for the different tests. So both of these things we're really looking to, the common theme is we want rigor, that is making sure you didn't miss something on page 200 with the qualitative. Here we're answering all the assumptions or looking at all the assumptions. Efficiency in getting codes, themes, and a report in almost real time or real time. I mean, you got to wait a second or two. And also the accuracy, right? I mean, here, what does a significant Shapiro-Wilk mean? A lot of faculty, and I talk to them, maybe not know that off the top of their head. So just to reinforce that. The other things I want to state about that are what? Just come here. Let me see here. So large range of functions, lots of free resources going on. There's a manual, there's a video library. We offer free in-house training to faculty, both for the quant and the qual, free training. Obviously easy to learn and intuitive. And given the fact that it's web-based, it's supported as long as you have a browser, you're good to go. There's no finickiness with different legacy tools with Macs or IBM or whatever. And there's no downloading, no updating. We're on enough Zoom calls and you get them that says, my Zoom is updating. I'll be there in a minute. There's no updating to be had. We update it once and it goes everywhere. Okay. Any questions about that? For the do you have a program for the mixed method research? Love that question. Love that question. Not yet, but they need to come over. So I'll say the one thing that we do have, which may not sate all of your desires, is when you have open-ended responses, and oftentimes in a quant study, you have some open-ended responses. Make sure this is okay. What we do have a text classification, which really what that does is, oops, I have to put in a variable. What that does is it doesn't do a deep dive into qualitative, but what it does do is it buckets your responses. Let me just, and here it's bucketing the responses into, ethical leadership principles, interpersonal. So it is bucketing them where you can now interact with your buckets of qualitative categories with your other quantitative data. So that's one thing, but we need to get that functionality to bring over our analysis, bring over our analysis, okay, with the qualitative, and really use AI to triangulate that. So we're getting there. Okay, other questions. Case study, don't have an answer for that. Don't have an answer for that. Do you have multiple interviews going on there? What are we doing for that case study? I shouldn't really go down this rabbit hole because I'm not an expert at that. Nora, happy to talk offline about that and see what way you're doing using that. To me, I'm thinking about different types of data around one case or one event. Other questions? And Nora, please get back to me. I'm happy to try to do that. Path modeling, a type of SEM, is an extension of multiple regression. So we have both. Both have regressions, okay? And we have lots of path analysis, SEM, and simple to use. Like for a neophyte like me around this, I can actually get SEM models to run. All the assumptions are there, all the fit indices are there. Absolute winner. Melissa, maybe we do offer consulting, and maybe put that into the Q&A. Maybe put in either a link to schedule or a phone number to schedule that we do offer statistical consulting and qualitative consulting to help as well. This program leans heavily on AI. How would we cite this? Well, heavily is kind of a strong word because there's lots of ways of manually doing this. So if you're heavily using AI, then I would, well, in either event, get that document. So we would ask you to cite the tool, which is that, okay? We're using several LLMs. We're not using, and we switch them. So we're not gonna be giving credit to chat for using Reddit with a citing for their training. It's a rabbit hole. But at the moment, you can obviously be doing different versions of manual and auto coding, and that the tool that's it's our prompts and other proprietary stuff going on in there. So that's how we do that.
And I think it's important to just repeat that these are suggestions and you're going to vet them and change them and all of that. So it's going to be your work in the end.
Yep. Other questions? I guess just to, we're in the infancy of all of this. A couple years in, we're going to be in 5 years or 10 years and 30 years. And I'm sure other papers will come out discussing this. Okay. Any other questions? Can I use it for my graduate class this semester? Yep. Contact Melissa or Ashley for that. Ashley's already on that. So yes, a lot of faculty might think that it's going to take a while to get this integrated and to get the courses. We can get you the courses to review by Friday, 5 o'clock. We can get that to you very quickly, A. We can get links to you very quickly. Students can buy it. If you're teaching a class, students can purchase it as a book, get the courseware and the tool, and faculty will get it for free. And we can get it in your LMS, very quickly. I mean, an hour. So we can work with your IT department. We're really very happy to be involved and to make that happen quickly. So it doesn't take long. Can you explain about the consultation process and the cost for that? Melissa, what do you want to say about that? So I think each project is different.
Right. We'll do
so
we do a free, for the qualitative, we just do a free consultation and see what you need. And then you can schedule using that link I put in the chat. If you want, if you're a faculty, we do free training to make sure that you know how to use the tool. So if you're looking for consultation around just how to use the tool, that's free to faculty. And then we also have overview sessions every week, every Tuesday at 1 p.m. So if you have questions about how to use the tool, or if your students have questions about how to use the tools, they can get them answered there.
did you put that link in there for them?
I put the consulting, but I'll put the Tuesday
For
session.
the free Tuesday in there? Yeah. Um, and I would say, student pricing, it's really, it's competitive pricing with someone with, 10 or 20 years of experience. So I'll just say that much. Should we say something about the pricing of the tools themselves for classes, Melissa, or do you want to just do that on a one-on-one basis,
I
depending
think
upon?
one-on-one, let us know the number of students you have, the term they would need it for, and we can get pricing over to you, ASAP. Just if you have questions about that, reach out to Ashley, and her contact info is in the chat. I also will CC her on the follow-up email with the video, so you have it there. We'll also include links to the resources and the upcoming workshops.
Okay, and I was going to ask that question. When are the next upcoming workshops? Can we put that into the chat, into the question and answer, please?
Sure.
So I think we have summer workshops, summer overview sessions. I appreciate everybody hanging in here. Over 90% of you have stayed to listen to this whole hour. So thank you. Okay, so lab installation. Yeah, we'll get into that hard. Is there a fee for the qualitative courses? What, but I can tell you about the courseware. By the way, there is qualitative courseware, but there's also quantitative courseware, which is like basically, 60 lessons, goes behind your LMS and so forth. And basically, roughly, it's about $8 to get all for the 60 quant lessons, about $8. For the qual lessons, about $8 above and beyond the tool course. So it's very, very reasonable. They get PDFs with it for each one of them. It's easy to use, it's user friendly, and it's a nice way to kind of learn those data analysis approaches.
Additionally, if you're a student and you just want to take a course one-off, we do have that option, and it's about $5 per lesson. And I'll put that link in here as well if you want to look at those.
And for all of you students, please share, sorry to be a little bit on the salesy side. Please share it with faculty. They literally do not know what's happening. The quant has been out there for a decade. The qual's been out there for going on a year. Share that with them, it's going to be helping your colleagues and faculty. Again, doing rigorous work in an efficient manner. So please do share that to the extent that you can. Okay, other questions, if there's any. Thank you. Thanks for that. Melissa and Ashley busy answering 50 questions. Okay, great. Okay, final thoughts, final questions? Thank you. Thank you all so much. I think we'll just wrap it up there.
And if you have questions afterwards, please reach out to me or Ashley. So you'll have our.
And I'll just do this as a quick phone number, email addresses. Okay. On behalf of my team and I, we really appreciate your attendance. we look forward to seeing you at the next ones. And thank you all so much for your attention and for hanging in for the hour. So I wish you a wonderful today and tomorrow and the weekend, and see you all soon.